Hello everyone, welcome back to Our Vision Farm. I'm going to be taking advantage of this beautiful sunny and cool day here in Florida. It is October, first week of October, and I'm going to be planting some seeds in the ground. I've been slowly trying to be consistent in planting things. We transplanted a lot of the things that were in here. I still have my little branches that we pruned the trees with, but I've been checking on them and nothing has grown roots yet, although the water is kind of sort of keeping those prunings alive. It looks like we have some things sprouting in here, but we transplanted some of the cucumbers and the zucchinis that I had in there, and I believe I planted jalapeno seeds or something like that in the pots that I have by the bird aviary, but I haven't planted any actual veggie seeds, so I thought I'll give my gardens a quick check out, a quick clean out, and plant some things. I pulled out some cilantro, carrots, some beets, tomatoes, cucumber, some more carrots, all things that do good here in Florida in the fall time. My gardens aren't too bad with the weeds. We've been keeping them in control. And then I have not watered anymore, especially after the hurricane, because we got basically 2 days of straight rain. So I haven't watered anything. All the plants that we do still have are perfectly perky and alive. But I just wanted to take advantage of this nice day, and I have nothing else to do inside the house right now. So I'm going to get some things planted and just take advantage of the good weather. Right now we don't have too many things growing. We planted our transplants in our big garden. So we got eggplants going in there, peppers, kale, some collards, and Napa cabbage, I believe. And then other than that, we have carrots. And then I just planted jalapenos. We don't have too many things going in here as in flowers. We planted some seeds in here. Not sure what held through, like through the storm and all the flooding rain. I might have to just replant these boxes. Surprisingly, our papaya trees held, which I'm very excited about, because if you remember, some of these papaya trees actually died over the winter. They were about this size when we got our very last frost in the winter time, so it killed them, but they regrew back from the roots. So, and I thought the hurricane had wiped these off, but as you can see, they still have papayas hanging on there. Not too many, but the tree is working on repairing itself and growing lots of new flowers. So we have papayas to look forward to before it gets into the cold months again. Our passion fruit vine is doing really good. It keeps on spreading and spreading, and I'm encouraging it to keep growing along this fence line. So that whole thing is a passion fruit. You can see it vining over here. But other than that, we don't have a lot going on as in vegetables. The back garden we've been struggling with a lot lately. You guys saw how we planted almost the entire garden in green beans. Those did not work out through the summertime at all. So then I attempted to plant pumpkins in there, like the orange pumpkins, and then the seed pack also came with white pumpkin seeds, and I don't know what happened, but those have completely disappeared. It was a combination of something getting in there and eating some of our plants, and also the little green worms that eat the plant, and we didn't get to it in time. So this garden now is where we planted the little plant starts that we had bought at the meat festival. So we planted those in there, plus some of our own transplants, the zucchini and the cucumber seeds. So you can't really see them until you get up close, but those are scattered around in this garden, and that will fill in. We still have plenty of space that we can fill in, but at least we got something going, even though they are not big and visible quite yet. Still got some hot peppers here, but we really need to just get seeds planted every day. Plant something, or every other day at least. Get something in the ground so that we can continue harvesting, because that's all gardening really is you have to continue pacing yourself and planting, not taking too long of a break in planting anything, because just as you want to be harvesting every day, you have to be out here and working and planting every day if you want to have something to harvest every single day. It's also important not to put too much pressure on yourself either. We are lucky that we raise our own animals and meats in combination of growing our own gardens and growing herbs and vegetables and planting fruit trees, because during the times like this where we haven't really harvested anything in a while, I don't feel that bad because we're still raising turkeys. We still got chicken. We still have a cow in the freezer right now that got harvested a while ago. We're still eating homegrown meats and being able to be self-sufficient in that way. We're eating our own chicken eggs. When we had turkeys laying eggs, we were doing all kinds of things with the turkey eggs, baking. So it's still little by little, you're still providing for yourself. Even if it's not necessarily vegetables and fruits from your own orchard or herbs from the garden, at least it's something. That's why I like having such a varied farm, because let's say one month I didn't do good on vegetables or a deer came and ate all of our plants, at least we still have our own homegrown chicken, homegrown meats in the freezer, and just things that maybe I've preserved in the past in the cabinets. So it's always something. And worst case scenario, if you don't want to eat your own meats, if you don't really care for eggs, you can still raise this stuff to sell to other people, to other farms. Like, let's say if I was a vegetarian and I didn't eat meat, we would not kill our lambs for meat. We would sell the baby lambs to maybe other farms that want to raise sheep on their farm. Same as with Mariah's silkies over here. Her silkies, we're not planning on ever really eating them. I mean, we could if we really wanted to, but we don't care for eating her silkies. But what we do is hatch the eggs and sell the chicks to other farms. So it's always something that you can be doing to be productive on your property. Whether you have a quarter acre, half acre, 1 acre, 5 acres, whatever it is, there's always something that can be done. So let me get back to this garden. This garden is where I want to plant these seeds while I chat with you guys some more. So me and my husband, I know we've done this before, but I feel like we are really serious this time. We're feeling a push, and we're feeling like we're being moved to want to move out of Florida. No specific reasons. Yeah, I don't like that we have to deal with hurricanes every couple of years and like all those scary experiences, but at the end of the day, there is natural disasters in other states as well. There's always chances of tornadoes, and if you go to certain sides of the country, there's always chances of earthquakes and stuff like that, or just in general bad storms that can literally wipe out your farm or your home. But my husband and I are really just ready for a change, ready for a move. If you guys didn't know, I actually moved here, I think it was like 2006, I want to say. I'd have to really look back to know exactly what year it was, but I remember we moved here and it was about the last month of middle school for me. So I spent the last month of middle school here in Florida taking like all the testings that you have to take at the end of the year. And I moved from New Jersey, so just so you get kind of an idea, me and my sisters were born in New Jersey and raised up north, so I pretty much have an idea of what it is to live in another state at least. So we moved here in middle school, well, the end of middle school, and then went straight to high school. And of course, as a young child, I didn't want to leave my friends and leave my life in New Jersey, but of course here in Florida is where I met my husband in high school. So my husband and I met sophomore year of high school, and we met in one of the classes that we had together, and from there we had our general ups and downs when we were young teens, but we stuck together and we ended up getting married. We had our 2 kids prior to marriage actually, but we did eventually get married, and we have built the life that you guys know of now. We bought our first property here and have just converted it into our little homestead, into our growing farm, and slowly making it a working farm. And one of the main things that we've been doing for that is growing our chicken business, and I have taken you guys through that whole process and how good it's going now that we've kind of worked out some of the kinks. But my husband has lived here his whole entire life. He was born and raised in Florida. He was actually born in Sanford. Alright, sorry guys, that was my husband calling. So, like I was saying, well, I just got planted. I got this box planted in carrots, and then I planted some cucumbers. Still got all of these left. But like I was saying, my husband was born in Sanford, has pretty much, well, has lived in Florida all of his life. And I think he went from Sanford to the city where we ended up meeting in high school. So he's been ready for a change for quite a while. Like, we like Florida. We don't really have any problems with Florida besides our struggles with growing things, but we know it can be done. There's farms here that grow and produce all kinds of crops. It just takes a little bit extra work to build up that soil to get to that point. And we enjoy Florida. I really like Florida because you can grow things all year round. You can at least grow something even through the winter. A little bit harder in the summertime, I have to admit, but you can grow something all year round because the weather is so mild when it comes to winter, at least. So it's not like we have to have an off season. It's actually backwards as the rest of the country. A lot of states, their off season is literally in the winter time because they can't do anything. But here the off season tends to be more of the summertime, just because it's so hot that people can't get things, keep things alive. But that's what I like about Florida. And it feels like it's more of a free state. We have a lot of lax rules when it comes to homeschooling here. We have a really good cottage food law. And for example, getting our chicken permit to sell chickens to the public was very easy, next to nothing, literally. So like, I feel like in some aspects Florida is really free, but we're just not like forever happy here. We feel like we need to move somewhere else and start our own life somewhere else. As hard as it is to even imagine leaving our family, leaving the comfort of where we were really raised in and bought our first home, leaving all of our customers that we have here and our friends. I feel like we just need to take that step, take that leap, and just get out of our comfort zone, because we can stay here forever, but I feel like we're not truly happy here. We've discussed it so many times already, and it just keeps coming up. The topic keeps coming up. The urge to want to move just keeps happening. It's not going away. So I do think that it is time for us to start considering other states. We have a long list that we have to really do before we figure out what state we can narrow it down to. Right now I am just praying that God kind of helps us and gives us a hint of where he wants us, because I have a strong feeling that he wants us somewhere else. We just don't know where. There's so many possibilities, and I'd like to move to a state that has all of the seasons. Like, that's where I feel like I would be the happiest. And we can deal with stuff like snow. I know they have things like snowstorms and blizzards. It's the same thing everywhere you move to. The grass is not greener on the other side whatsoever. Every state has its problems and its natural disasters and its political problems and all of that, financial. Every state is going to have its up and down, but I truly feel like I want a state with all the seasons. I want to be experiencing the cool fall, the cold winters with snow. That's just, maybe it's just me because I was raised in New Jersey and I missed that part about it, but my husband as well, he wants to experience all of the seasons. My plan is just to continue meditating and pondering about it and praying to God that he gives us a little hint, a little clue of what we want. My idea was to print a map of the United States and just mark possible states, kind of like a pro and con list of why we would want to move here, what are the homeschooling laws like here, what are like the farm laws, small business, if they have permits for certain things, how hard they are to get. If I want to have a food business in another state, am I going to have to use a commercial license, or do they have a good cottage food law like here in Florida? What are the zoning like in certain neighborhood? Is there a lot of agriculturally zoned properties and things like that to consider? And just overall, lots of stuff to consider. Right now we are currently homeschooling our kids, and Florida is very lenient on that. One thing to consider if we move is our kids going to go back to public school for a bit, or if they have good homeschooling laws, maybe we'll continue homeschooling them. Maybe we'll just see what the kids want to do at that point. They can try out the public school system and see if they like it or not, and we can go back to homeschooling. Or if just the homeschool or the schooling system in another state is better than the situation here in Florida. So all in all, that is what we are like not really working towards right now. Right now we're on the just planning stage, kind of hoping and dreaming stage, and trying to really narrow down what state is it that God wants us in, where he wants to take us. We have no clue right now. Like, we don't even know where to begin. That's why I wanted to do the printing out the US map, because we don't know what part of the US we even want to move in. I know we want to stay away from the hot tropical states and the southern states. We want to move somewhere up north where it is colder and we can experience all of the temperature changes throughout the year, because I feel like our souls just need that to be happy. I miss having like the weather changes and the color changes of the trees, and then finally having the white winters and then the beautiful springs where everything starts flowering and blooming once again after everything has melted away. So at the end of the day, I think, well, I know for sure that Florida is not our forever home. We just don't know where our forever home is. And I don't mind downsizing. We have 5 acres here in Florida on a regular three bedroom, 2 bathroom type house. We don't use our whole 5 acres. As you know, we have property in the back that's all marshland. We can't use it. It's unusable. Can't plant anything back there. Haven't even discovered the end of our property because there's so much deep water back there. So if it came down to it, if we can sell this property, sell this house, and be able to afford something, like after we pay off the mortgage on this house, have a certain amount to purchase a different property in another state, even if we have to downsize, I am totally okay with that. It doesn't always have to be an upgrade. We don't have to move to a bigger farm so that we can do more, because we're doing a lot on less than 5 acres. We're probably using half of our 5 acres. I'd say we actually utilize 2.5 out of the 5 whole acres here. And we've accomplished so much and raised so many different animals here and have grown so many different things. So I can only imagine what can be done on just a different property, maybe with better soil. Some states just naturally have good soil that is meant for growing things. Florida, you kind of have to build up to that point. I can only imagine how it would feel to just be able to jump straight in, not have to just enrich your soil so much for like the first year or two before being able to plant things. Or maybe, just maybe, finding a property that already has fruit trees on it. That would be a dream come true, to have already established fruit trees or a small orchard of some type, or some type of food producing food production going on in that property before we even get to move in there. That would be amazing as well. Finding a perfect property that just has the perfect amount of land for what we want to do. I know we want to continue raising sheep and chickens and probably pigs as well. We want to continue all of that, and turkeys, pretty much everything that we have here. And so we just need that amount of space. We don't need a terrible amount of space. I don't want to like upgrade to a 100-acre farm. I mean, if we were able to find that in the amount that we can afford, then that would be awesome. But I'm keeping my options open and keeping consideration that we don't have to move to a bigger property. We can stick with about this same property or even smaller, seeing as we're not using our whole 5 acres right now. If I were to find a property in another state that has 3 acres and the home that we need to raise our family in, then that would be okay. And then if something pops up that is bigger acreage than what we have now, then praise God as well. Right now we don't use our whole 5 acres, so if we were to find a property with 5 acres that were all usable, that would actually seem like an upgrade on its own. And I'm also, like, I've posted pictures on our Instagram. I am in love with mountains. That's one thing we loved about Tennessee, was the mountains and being able to hike in the mountains, and it just looks so majestic with the change of weather and the fall time and then the winter. So I don't know, maybe we're destined for a farm in the mountains. I'm one, and my husband is also one, that loves solidarity and being alone. We don't have to be living next to people and like the city environment. We love peaceful land, scenery, and just feeling free and just feeling like you're part of nature. So that's one thing I like about this property. We do have our neighbors right next door to each other, but other than that, as you can see, it's just all nature and woods and forest, and there's nobody here to bother you. But we would actually prefer something even more away from the hustle and bustle. We live pretty close to our downtown DeLand area right now, so I wouldn't mind living even farther away. It would not be any discomfort to me to like not have neighbors or to live miles and miles away from the nearest store. I wouldn't mind it at all, because the whole goal is to be self-sufficient and growing our own foods and preserving our own things, growing our own meats. So why would it matter that the store is an hour away or the next grocery store is too far? That would not matter at all if we're doing the whole homesteading and farming thing correctly. So that is just our thought process right now. We are ready for a change. We are ready to see what God has in store for us. I really feel like Florida is not our forever home. I've said it so many times already, and it's just now coming into realization that we're not going to change our minds anytime soon. We keep going back and forth. Well, maybe it's easier to just stay here. Maybe it's just easier to expand on the current property we have now, and it is much easier to just stay here, pay off our mortgage here, plant everything that we want to grow here in Florida. We already have our customer base and all of that, but at the end of the day, we are not truly happy here. I'm 30 and my husband is 31, and we feel like we've already lived about a third of our lives here, and he's lived here in Florida all his life, so he's ready for a change. I've been ready for a change. We want to live the rest of our lives that we have left somewhere where we are truly happy and feel at peace and feel like we made the best decision for our family. We don't know where the world is coming to, and I don't want to be stuck here. I don't want to be somewhere where we're not truly happy, where we're not truly at peace. What are you doing, Turbo? It's tapping my shoe. I'm sure there's other people that feel this way as well. It's like when you know, you just know. You know you're not in the right property, you're not in the right area, you're not surrounded by the right people. I don't have any major complaints of where we're at. It's just that it does not feel right. It doesn't feel 100% right. And I feel like when we find that perfect property and we get to wake up in the morning and just get to start working for the day, it's gonna feel completely right. We're not gonna have any doubts in our mind and any like what ifs situations running across our minds. We're just gonna know. So that is just my thought process for now. That is what to look forward to, I guess, with our channel, because of course if we move, our Vision Farm is still going to be here to stay. We're just going to take it wherever we go, and you guys will be able to see all those new adventures. I always wish that I started this channel when we first bought our property, because we have made so many changes here. This was just a complete blank slate when we moved here, and I missed a lot of chances to take you guys along the journey from day one. So if we were to move, you guys will be on the journey literally from day one, from packing up our stuff and leaving here to starting brand new somewhere else. So that would be fun to share and something fun to look back on for future me, for future everybody in our family. And I don't know, I've kind of run the idea across my mom, and of course she doesn't want us to go. She's kind of worried about us moving away a while ago when my husband was truck driving and he got offered a job in a different state, and we were like contemplating on taking it. She kind of got worried about us moving out back then, so I haven't really talked to her about it. But at the end of the day, we have to fly the nest at some point, and a good sign of a good parent is when their kids are able to move on, start their own life somewhere else and be successful. That is the sign of a good parent, and I hope my kids get to that point as well when they get older, that they're able to fly the coop, fly the nest, and be able to start their own journey on their own, not always depending on their parents. And that is the ultimate goal. You never know, our family might want to move wherever we move if they end up liking it as well, but I'm fully not expecting that. My family has actually talked about moving out of the country to a whole different country where it's just cheaper and more peaceful to live at. I don't think I'd go that far. I don't think, me and my husband talked about it, that's not something I'd personally want to do. I don't want to move out of the country. I'd rather stay here in the US and just find our little piece of paradise here in the United States. I know the perfect state is out there, and we're gonna find it, and it's just gonna click and we're gonna know. But just wanted to keep you guys updated. I don't think this is gonna happen anytime soon, but you just never know. You never know what God has in store for us. And if something were to happen where we can just up and leave like that, then that's just what will happen. But I think this is going to be probably a goal, a future goal. Maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, hopefully sooner than 5 years. But I see it happening. I have visions of it, and I feel like it is coming. So with that said, I'm going to end this video. I'm actually going to turn on these sprinklers just to get my seeds that I just planted a little bit wet. Not too much, because everything should still be pretty saturated from all the heavy rains that we've had just about half a week ago. So I'm just going to turn it on for a little bit just to give them a little jump start. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this chat, and I hope you are following your dreams as well. Don't let comfort strap you down. Don't let comfort stop you from reaching those dreams that you have. Don't get too comfortable where you are just because it's just easier. It's more convenient to stay where you're at. You should always try to follow your dreams no matter what it takes. If it takes being uncomfortable for a little bit and getting used to your new surroundings, saving up money again, just having to learn a whole new pattern, a whole new state, a whole new type of people that you're surrounded by, at the end of the day it works out, and it's going to work out for your good, and you're going to feel so much better about it, especially when you're old and retired and get to just enjoy your little plot of property that you work so hard for. It's going to be well worth it, well worth all the learning and the struggles in the beginning and having to make those tough decisions. It's all going to be worth it at the end when you feel like you are truly happy and you made the right decision. So I pray that you guys are able to make any of the tough decisions that you're destined to make in your near future, and I pray that God just answers our prayers and leads us to exactly where it is that He is preparing an area for us. So hope you guys enjoyed this video again. I'll continue giving you follow-ups of anything that's going on here in the farm. Let me get the sprinkler on. I will end this video right here. See you guys in the next one.